Senior Life Journeys presents Carol Howell's Let's Talk Dementia, a podcast designed to help caregivers find knowledge, power, hope, and smiles in their dementia caregiving journey. Welcome to Let's Talk Dementia. Here is your host, best-selling author, Carol Howell.
Hi everybody, I'm Carol Howell. Welcome to Let's Talk Dementia. I'm glad you've chosen to join me today. I'm feeling a little bit, maybe under the weather. I think I've got a little bit of a sore throat coming on. And I've got a big event coming up Thursday that I kind of need to be able to talk at. So, not a good feeling. But, that's the way life goes. Just when you think you've got everything figured out, you find out you don't. Do I hear an amen? You guys know about that because you're caregivers. You can't really plan too far in advance because, you just can't plan too far in advance. You never know what's going on in your caregiving world from minute to minute, much less forget about doing day to day or planning for next month. It's a challenge. It made me think about yesterday's sermon at our church. Our pastor spent a little bit of time talking to us about the Serenity Prayer. It was part of his sermon and was very meaningful. And I've done a show before on a different version of the Serenity Prayer. I thought it was a really good episode, but this is the actual version that's used by Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't know, it just seemed to relate very well to caregiving for what we deal with as caregivers and understanding that there are things in our life we can change and there are things in our life that, we just got to learn to accept because we're not going to change it. There are people we have to learn to accept because we're not going to change those people either. So let me just read you this Serenity Prayer. My shirt's messed up. I'm trying to figure out how to adjust it here and make it look right. There we go. For you folks that are listening to the podcast, I know you wonder sometimes, what is she doing? I wonder the same thing myself. Here is the entire Serenity Prayer for those of you who may not have heard it. The first few lines are going to be familiar, but it's the last few lines that really struck me as a caregiver. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Taking, as He did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that He will make all things right if I surrender to His will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with Him forever in the next. Amen. Well, there's just a lot of good stuff in that prayer. You know what I'm talking about? The serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can. I think for most of you, if you're watching this show or listening to it, you're trying hard to do the things you can do to be a good caregiver. But in that day-to-day journey, you're finding out there's things you cannot fix. You cannot fix your loved one's dementia unless they have a reversible one, then let's get it fixed. But if you're dealing with an irreversible dementia like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, Lewy body disease, frontal temporal lobe dementia, vascular dementia, whatever irreversible dementia you might be dealing with, you can't fix that. I wish you could. I'm praying that one day there will be a cure for all of these. But as of today, there's not. So we have to accept that in our world. And I did with that beautiful woman in the picture right back here. For those of you watching the video, my mama, Miss Vera. I had to accept that diagnosis and that new change in my world and in her world and how it rocked our world. I had to accept that. Mama accepted it well. She would say to me many times, Pookie, if I can help just one person because I have Alzheimer's, it will have been worth it. And I would tell her at that point how many countries our show, our video, and our podcast are in at this time. And as of this recording, and of course, Mama's been gone for several months now, but as of this recording, we're in 83 countries. So Mama's journey is helping other people, and your loved one's journey can help other people if you allow that to happen in your world. If you allow what's going on with them to shine through you, and God's goodness and His grace and His mercy and all of it to shine through you, good things can come from it. Trust me, it's true. But then we have to know the wisdom, to know the difference between the things we can do something about and the things we can't. Because if we're beating our head against the wall to change the things we can't change, then that's just not smart now, is it? No, it is not. We want to be using all our energy on the things we can do something about. And if there's things in your world that need changing that you cannot change, then you need to take that one to the Lord up above. Let Him do it, because, girlfriend, you're not going to be able to. It says living one day at a time. Well, as I said earlier, as caregivers, we do good to handle one day. We're living minute by minute because life is changing constantly. We think we have our loved ones figured out, and then they moved right into another stage or another phase of their dementia journey, and life changes for us. So living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. And I hope you are enjoying those moments. I hope that in your journey, you are not so concentrated on the negative and the hard and the difficult and the dirty, the unpleasant, the things you wish you could change, that you miss the pleasant moments in life. Your loved one still has a sense of humor. My mama did. My mama was inappropriate too, and it was funny. I can't help it. It was just funny. And she would say things that would make other people laugh, and things that I would shake my head and go, I got no idea where that came from. But Mama would laugh and we would laugh. Times when Mama would sing with us and she would reminisce to whatever point she was capable of. Wonderful moments. In those times that she would look at me and go, Carolyn, I love you. Oh, how I wish I could hear that again. Don't cry, Carol. Don't cry. Don't do it. You don't look good when you cry. Accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. And boy, if that's not the truth for everybody, if we don't learn to accept life as it comes along, if we're constantly fighting it, there will be no peace. And we don't want to live a life without peace. Taking as He did, as Christ did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, because it's not what you want. But it is what it is. Life is what it is. Trusting that He, Christ, will make all things right if I surrender to His will. And that's what it's about, is just realizing that we can do what we can do. We can't do what we can't do. But He didn't call us to do what we can't do. He only put us on this planet to do the things we can do. And for you, it's caregiving for your loved one. We do all this so that I may be reasonably happy in this life. No, we're not promised a rose garden. We're not promised that every day is going to be Disney World for us, because girlfriend is not. But we know that we will be supremely happy with Him, with Christ, forever in the next life. Amen? Well, amen. And that's the last word of that prayer too. I don't know, you can see how potentially when I was sitting in that worship service and Reverend Pratt was preaching and he turned the message toward this Serenity Prayer, I went, wow, I've got to use this on an upcoming episode. Maybe you will play this back and pray that prayer along. Print it out. You can Google it and find it. But keep that in your mind. The serenity to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking, as He did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that He will make all things right if I surrender to His will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with Him forever in the next. Amen. Blessings and smiles, you guys.
Let's Talk Dementia would like to thank our sponsors, National Association of Veterans and Families. You can reach them at 800-352-2919, on the internet at www.navf.org. They speak veterans so you don't have to, and you tell them Carol sent you when you call to inquire about benefits for the veteran, the spouse of the veteran, or both. Editor Beth. You can find Ms. Beth Crosby at editorbeth.com. She is amazing at looking at what you've written and making sure it represents you well. Find her at www.editorbeth.com. And HD Imports, located on Flint Street Extension in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That's York County. 803-985-0985. They are there for the repair and maintenance of your Honda, Hyundai, Toyota, Kia. Tell them Carol sent you.
Thanks for joining us today for Carol Howell's Let's Talk Dementia. To learn more about dementia, we recommend Carol's best-selling book, also titled Let's Talk Dementia. It's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle versions. Be sure to like Let's Talk Dementia on Facebook and leave us a kind word of review on iTunes. Remember, knowledge brings power. Power brings hope. Hope brings smiles. And we all need more smiles. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll be right here when you come back to Let's Talk Dementia.